Hey, how you guys doing? This is your boy Amar. I'm here at the Gardenstate Comic Book Festival in New Jersey, 2021, July 10th, Sunday, the last day, the final day. Yes, I have some surprises. Hey, how you guys doing? This is your boy Amari. I'm here at Gardenstate Comic Book Festival. As I told you before, I always have the best guests on my television program. And I have a very special guest. She's from the country of Brazil. She's a superstar Brazilian artist. She's connected to a lot of famous people from Brazil. It's the one and only Adriana Melo. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Having a great time.
Please tell me your origin story when it comes to drawing comic book illustrations. How did you get started?
So, do you want me to? Okay. So, I always loved comic books in general. Since I was a little kid, I was always reading them. But the funny part is that I only read, my first comic book, like superhero comic book, I was 16 years old. Before that, I never read it because in the late 80s, especially in Brazil, the thing was superheroes. Oh yeah, they are for boys, not for girls.
When did you start drawing professionally for any publishers? Was it with the publishers in Brazil or was it somewhere in America?
No, was for American publishers. When I was 18, I was part of a studio in Brazil that represented Brazilian artists, and they were looking for someone to draw an issue of Iron Man. And me and another three other Brazilian artists, we sent artwork, etc. And Marvel picked up mine, and that's how I began. And I was 18.
Are you still working with Ed Bennis?
Yeah, I know Ed Bennis. I know of his work. I use him, when I was in the beginning of my career, a lot as reference. And yeah, he's another super talented Brazilian artist.
So, tell me what you're working on right now currently.
Okay, so right now I'm finishing an issue for Obi-Wan. I'm working on Obi-Wan issue 5, and I'm about to begin Wonder Girl annual issue with Joe Thompson, Sweeney Boo, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm getting to draw Brazilians, and it's been awesome.
Okay. Are you going to be working on any your own creative projects, or are you just going to keep working for the big two and Image?
Ah. I would love to work in something, I have some ideas. I might be doing something in the upcoming year. But right now, I'll keep working for DC Comics. But I'll tell you that pretty soon I hope to have something on Kickstarter with one of my characters. Who knows?
Okay. First and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for being here. And I loved your artwork when you were working on Witchblade. And also, I enjoy your Birds of Prey artwork. So I see you out here kicking a lot of ass. Adriana, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. Will I see you again on another show?
Yeah. I'll be in Terrificon, Connecticut in actually 2 weeks' time, and then New York and Baltimore. Busy year.
You heard what the lady said. She's very busy. She's going to keep kicking ass and taking no prisoners. Adriana, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here. Until next time, Achiogo. All right, bye-bye. Hey, how you guys doing? This is your boy Amar. I'm still here at Garden State Comic Festival. Yes, as you can see in front of my camera, there's a very big gentleman there sitting. He's not standing. The reason he's standing is because he's too damn tall. Really, and for my camera. But I'm talking to the one and only, the legendary, the one and only. They call him Enrique Lopez. How you doing, man?
Very good, man. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for being here. So I just want you to tell my audience about your journey in art. How did you get started?
Okay, I started back in 1980s when basically we had only four colors to our books and only two major groups, which was Marvel and DC. I tried to get into comics at that time, and unfortunately was not as successful as I thought it would be. And I retired into doing advertising for many years. I worked for companies like Leo Burnett, BBDO, producing numerous commercials that were award-winning. And it wasn't until like a few years ago that my daughter decided to get into art, and I got back into the industry. So I'm back and I'm inking, doing a lot of work and drawing and writing again. So we're back.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So, what are you working on currently right now, or if you have any past work that you would like to show off?
Well, currently I'm writing for some anthologies that are coming up. I did write for two stories in Stupid Kids, which is coming up soon on Kickstarter. I'm working with the second edition of this one, which is called Not So Fair Tales. We're doing Not So Fair Tales 2 this year. These are like based off fairy tales in our own twist. I have three stories in here. And this year we're doing fables. So I'm going to have a fable story, sci-fi story based on the Crow in the Picture fable. I'm also doing, I'm writing a story for Might, Magic, and Mother and Monsters in Laws. It's another anthology that's coming out, and that's going to have original characters of mine from a universe I created back in the 80s that slowly I'm bringing it up through anthologies and doing little stories, so when we hit the big launch of the concept will be in 2024. So we're doing the build-up now for that.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So you want to show off some of your artwork for the camera, or you're good? You're good on that.
I got a few sketch covers I did here recently. This was one that I did, which is an homage to the Carmine Infantino piece that was 1970s. I did this one recently here, which is one of my first attempts at doing some Spawn. This is a homage to the Punisher #1 from back then with Cam Bain, who also did that. Been wanting to do that character for a while, and of course I've done other stuff like here. This is my inks over a buddy of mine, Robbie Dunbryan, and this is my homage to the Ghost Rider Gold Glow in the Dark version. So
Sierra. Wow.
This is my cover, actually. This is my cover on this piece of America #2 that came out recently.
Okay, man. Well, thank you so much for showing off your artwork. So, if anybody wants to hire you for illustration purposes, how should they go about doing it?
They can contact me through my Facebook under Enrique Kike Lopez or under Art by Kike. And then on Instagram, it's easy to find me under art_by_Kike. And either way, it's a lot easier to find me those ways. So feel free.
All right, guys. You heard what the man said. Enrique, thank you so much for your time, man. Have a great day. Thank you for being here. Keep kicking ass and taking no prisoners.
Thanks a lot for having me, and keep the faith, people.
You heard what the man said. Keep the faith. Bye-bye. Hey, how you guys doing? This is your boy Amari. I'm here at Gardenstate Comic Book Festival, July 10th, 2022. Yes, you're wondering who is the gentleman that's sitting there working on a piece of artwork. Well, I'm going to tell you. He's a badass motherfucker named the one and only Yuko Smith. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, man?
Thank you so much for being here, man. Thanks for being such a great influence. My audience members, they don't know who you are. I was wondering, like, how did you get your start in art?
How did I get my start? Well, I was fortunate enough to have 4 older brothers who could all draw. So it was just a thing that was in my family. Where, you know, everybody could draw, and I just grew up watching them draw and paint, you know, and only myself and my other brother actually went into the field of art, you know, but that's how I got my start.
Okay. So who are your major influences when it comes to art besides your brothers?
Oh, geez. Well, one, you're looking at like Frank Frazetta, Michelangelo. I'm looking at Larry Stroman is there.
Shout out to Larry Stroman.
Yes, Stelfreeze is there.
Shout out to Brian Stelfreeze.
You got John Byrne. You got Patrick Nagel. Oh, geez.
This is too much, too much. So, what are you working on right now?
As far as this show
Yeah, the sketch in front of us, the commission.
this is a Angela character from Neil Gaiman that was part of the Spawn universe, and now I guess it's the Marvel universe, Asgard's. Yeah.
So, did you bring any of your creative own books here today, or you're just selling your artwork?
Yeah, I brought prints. I brought art books that I put together. So I'm selling those as well, and also like original pieces out of my portfolio.
Okay, cool, man. Are you working on your own original comic?
I am. The title of it is called 1500, and I was planning on it's a 6-issue series, and I'm not quite sure what I'm looking to do with it yet. Whether deal with a publisher or go the Kickstarter route, But I'm sort of leaning towards the Kickstarter route, but we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay. He can't really give away the magic of his book yet, but once you buy it, then you'll learn about it for yourself. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to give away the magic. That's just a no rule for me. All right, Yuko, thank you so much for your time, man. Keep kicking ass and taking no prisoners.
Yes.
Well, you heard what the man said. He's going to keep kicking ass and taking no prisoners. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye. Take two. How you guys doing? I told you guys, I'm always going to have the best guests on my program, period. Hands down. I'm never going to fail you guys. And here's proof of what I'm talking about. This man is a legendary animator. He's a superstar. He kicks ass. He takes no prisoners. He was also part of one of the greatest independent animation studios on the planet, Filmation. I'm talking about the one and only Tom Cook. How you doing, Tom?
Hey, I'm doing well. Been at this show here in New Jersey, and it's been a lot of fun. It's kind of winding down now, but did a lot of sales of some of the favorite shows that I've done, Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones, and of course He-Man. So so it feels really good to be here, and I was glad to be able to do this interview.
All right. So, tell me, how did you tell me your journey in art? Like, how did you get involved with comics and animation and TV and film? Please tell me the start of your journey.
Yeah, well, it was back when I was a little kid, probably about 8 years old, when Marvel Comics began, and Spider-Man came out, and it was my favorite comic, and I started to draw Spider-Man by looking at the comic book and then drawing what I saw that Steve Ditko did. And then slowly I started doing my own poses and stuff. And that's kind of how I started to learn to draw. I bought some books to show me how to do perspective and some things like that. But the real difference in my life was when I was in college and I took a class in comic book art so I could meet the teacher, whose name was Don Rico. Well, Don Rico worked at Hanna-Barbera as a storyboard artist. And so he liked my superhero artwork, and he said they were doing a show called Super Friends over at Hanna-Barbera, and they needed people who could draw superheroes. So he recommended me for a class they held over at the studio to learn basic animation, and within 3 weeks I got hired out of the class. So that's kind of how I got my job.
So, when you were working on Super Friends, was all the animation done in-house, or did they send some of the animation work to China and Korea and the Philippines?
No, back in 1978, all of the work was done in the United States. They hadn't sent anything out yet. It wasn't until 1981 that our union went on strike for more pay that they finally closed the doors and just sent all the work overseas. Lucky for us, Filmation Studios didn't do that. So I went over to work at Filmation, and we did all of the work for Filmation was all done in-house.
Well, that's kind of not true, because I remember when Filmation acquired the rights to the Zorro cartoon, they did prep some of the work in-house, but they sent it to TMS Entertainment.
But here's the deal with that. Lou Scheimer had promised us he'd never send work overseas. So he came to us and said, do you mind if we send this overseas? Because we don't have enough people to work on it. And we couldn't have done it. So we did some of the main scenes but the overall cartoon we couldn't handle. We were just too busy. So yeah, we did send some work overseas, but if we had said no, we could do it, he would have kept it in-house. So it was kind of our choice.
Okay. I know about the great Lou Scheimer. I love his work. Captain Marvel, the Shazam, Isis Show, Tarzan, Black Star, and Masters of the Universe and She-Ra. What for the Black Star cartoon? You worked on it, right? What do you feel that they were doing was wrong with the show? Like, what could they have done better with it?
Well, at that point, we hadn't done He-Man yet, and we were doing. It was a pretty cool show with him riding a dragon and everything. What happened was, they wanted to lower our budget for the following season, and in Black Star, we had a lot of special effects with lights behind the scenes and all that. You put a light underneath the cells, and it makes it light up and stuff. And they wanted us to cut the budget for that, and we didn't want to do that. And so we were going to do a second season, but then He-Man came along, and we really didn't have enough manpower to be able to do a second season anyway. So, and actually Black Star was the first show I became a full animator on. I was an assistant animator up to that point. So Black Star is one of those that I really hold dear to my heart because it was my first show.
Okay. Oh, what about Thundar the Barbarian? I really love that show. I felt it had so much potential to go very far. Like, I know the one and only Jack Kirby was responsible for some of the character designs. The show was, to me, amazing, but, like, what went wrong? What happened?
Yeah, that was kind of another strange thing that happened is that it was a popular show. It did really well, but Ruby Spears, this is about 1980, 81, Ruby Spears had just moved into this brand new building that they bought. It cost them quite a bit of money. And at that point, the actors went on strike. And I'm talking actors like John Wayne and real actors. And they gave Mel Blanc a vacation just before they went on strike. So when he came back, he couldn't cross the picket line. And he couldn't voice Heathcliff the cat, which is what he was doing. So they had to lay all of us off for that period of time until the union solved the problem. Well, the union never solved the problem. All the work was sent overseas. So same thing with Ruby Spears. They closed their doors and sent everything overseas, and they just didn't pick up Thundar for the second season or third season.
So was it animated in China, Korea, the Philippines? Oh, wow. Well, I felt the show was great. I mean, they could have done more, but, stuff happens. So now we're going to get to the juicy part of the interview, Masters of the Universe. So, like, what was really going on behind the scenes? Like, I know I heard a rumor that Arnold was not impressed at the fact that they made a toy character based on him.
I don't exactly know some of that sort of stuff, but I know that they had tried to find someone to make the toys, and in trying to sell the toys, they promised they were going to put a comic book with every figure. And then the person that was the manufacturer said, well, these toys you say are for like 5, 6, 7-year-olds. They can't read. So what good is a comic book? So thinking really fast, he said, well, we're going to do like an hour special, cartoon special of He-Man. And after he promised that, then he came running to Filmation and said, could you do an hour special of this show? And Lou Scheimer said, what if we do a full series? And they said, that'd be great. So that's how we got to do the series. So it really was almost by accident, but what a great accident that was.
Okay, well, now I got to talk about the controversial part about Masters of the Universe. Did they allow any of you guys to come on to the live-action movie set to voice or at least consult for the live-action movie, or they were like, hell no, the hell with you guys?
No, because it was really a whole different thing. Filmation didn't do the movie, so I'm sure if we had something to do with the movie, they would have used us. But it was all done by another company, and so we had nothing to do with it. So they, cast who they decided to cast and took Orko out of the show. I mean, they really changed it around.
Yeah, I did not like that. I mean, they still could have.
Yeah.
I understand Battle Cat.
Yeah.
No Battle Cat. I understand. Like, they didn't have the graphics back then, but like Orko, they definitely could have had it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is, it changed the show so much that the movie didn't even seem like He-Man anymore. And it really killed the whole franchise.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely agree with that because I've had conversations with some of my friends and they asked me like, what went wrong with He-Man? Well, here's the problem. They assumed that the Barbarian He-Man was more popular than the Prince Adam He-Man. And that's where they got everything wrong. And then they tried to save the movie, and, that last effort didn't really do anything, So, after the filmation and Deke, did you work, you went to work for Warner Brothers Animation, correct?
I did freelance work for them, yes, on Road Rovers, which is one of their shows right around the same time Pinky and the Brain was on.
I actually like Road Rovers, but the problem with Road Rovers, like, it just didn't have that spark for me to, like, to like hold on to it.
I thought it was a pretty good show. It was pretty clever. And it was one of the main writers that worked on He-Man that created that.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense, but... Oh, fuck. I'm sorry, man. Damn, what I was going to say. Are you working on anything right now, or are you retired?
No, I'm retired, and I just do Comic-Cons all around the country and even across the ocean. I've been to Ecuador. I've been to Dubai.
Wow, man. You're living a good life. Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Do you have any special messages for the fans out there?
No, just keep watching the cartoons and, keep hoping that they bring He-Man back and do a good job on it.
You heard what the man said. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. This is your boy Amari. I'm here at Gardenstate Festival, July 10th, 2022. As I told you guys before, I always have the best guests on my program. Yes, this gentleman here is no exception to that statement. I'm here with the victorious, the one and only Howard Victor Chaykin. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? What's going on?
Thank you so much for being here, man. Thank you so much for spending time with me and my audience. A lot of my audience may not know who you are. I know who you are, but could you tell them a little bit about your origin story when it comes to comic books?
I've been a comic book artist professionally for about a little over 50 years. I started my career as an assistant working for some of the greatest men in the comic book business. I've drawn everything and anything. I aged out of the mainstream stuff about 20 years or so ago. And these days I do a lot of independent material. I do crime stuff, I do erotic stuff, historical stuff, and westerns. And I'm a happy man, and I love doing comics. I don't care about reading them, but I certainly love doing them.
That's fucking amazing, man. So what was it like for you to work in your very first comic book? Was it an independent or was it something major?
I was working for DC Comics. I have very little memory of doing it. I wasn't very good. I didn't get good until I was about 10 years veteran. I learned a great deal working professionally and embarrassing myself publicly. And ultimately, I became a talent of worth in my early 30s, not my early 20s.
Okay, so we know you're a part of American history when it comes to the Star Wars franchise. Tell us, how did you get involved in that?
I was solicited by Marvel to do the book. I don't have any recollection of doing it. I don't care about the material. If I'd known it was going to be as big a deal as it is, I might have done a better job. I'm not sure I was good enough to do a better job at it. And I'm amazed by the fact that it's become a secular religion and that those comic books that I did have become sort of canonical subtexts. I don't care about Star Wars. I'm not interested. I've not seen any of the TV shows or any of the movies, and I'm perfectly happy.
That's cool, man. I respect that. Well, I respect your opinion on that. I mean, it was just a job anyway. That's all.
In this particular case, that's true.
Yeah. So tell us about the American flag. Like, I've heard good things and weird things, but we need to hear the truth about you. Like, there was one time your book American Flag was very popular. So tell us about the experience working on that.
It was never very popular. It was critically acclaimed, but never particularly achieved any commercial footprint for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that it didn't look like what most mainstream comic books look like, nor did it have the feel of a superhero book. The book was the first thing that I did professionally that has have any actual value from a professional and creative standpoint, and it set a bar in a tone for me that it's been my responsibility to support and do and maintain for the remaining years of my life.
Okay. Are you working on any books right now, or are you just doing commissions only?
No, I don't live on commissions. I'm doing the third volume of a fictional history of comics called Hey Kids Comics. The first was there are 2 trades are out there available. The third volume is called The Schlock of the New, and it's about comics fandom and how fandom invented comics and how fandom is basically sort of wrecked it. The first issue of the third volume will be out at the end of the year.
That's cool, man. Well, Howard, thank you so much for your time, man. Keep kicking ass and taking no fucking prisoners.
I have no other option. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You heard what the man said. He only has one option: kicking ass, taking no prisoners. All right, guys. Like I told you before, I always have the best guests on my program. I'm never, ever going to let you guys down. Bye-bye. As I told you guys before, I'm always going to have the best guests on my show, period. Hands down. I'm here with a very mysterious and tall figure in the comics industry. I'm talking about the one and only Tom Mandrake. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for doing the interview with me.
First of all, thank you so much for being here, because I didn't know whether or not I was actually going to meet you. So, you really made my day better.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So before we go into this interview, please tell me your origin story when it comes to creating comic books.
Well, I went to the Joe Kubert School and graduated in '79. Got my first work through Joe Kubert, started doing backgrounds at DC Comics, and started picking up work that way. I think Supergirl backgrounds, Sergeant Rock backups, things like that. That was my first work.
So what do you consider your specialty when it comes to creating comic books? Like, what genre do you feel you're best at?
Well, I think what I'm best known for is sort of that crossover superhero horror genre. So whether or not that's what I'm best at, that's certainly what seems to appeal to people.
That's cool, man. Yeah, because I see this wonderful drawing you did of the Spectre, and there's all these skeletons following him.
Yes, this is the cover from Spectre number 8, I believe, which was the glow-in-the-dark cover, and it certainly was the series that sort of solidified that idea of me being the superhero horror genre artist.
Okay. Are you working on any independent books right now, or are you still working for the major 2 companies?
I just finished a JSA Halloween story for DC, so that actually is right down that pikeway, the superhero horror genre. I just finished a story for Storm King, John Carpenter's Tales for a Halloween Night. So that's straight horror right there.
Okay. Will you work on any of your own books for yourself, or no?
Yes, I'm developing a. Actually, let me pull out a.
Pulling out the big guns, people. The big guns. You know what that means. Woo.
I'm working on a creator-owned project.
Oh, wait. He's almost ready.
I'm working on a publisher for it. Is this on screen?
Man, that's fucking beautiful.
So this Demon 71 project is one of the creator-owned projects I'm working on. I've got another one in the works as well that I'm inking right now. I can't actually say the project, but I'll tell you that I'm working on it with Steve Niles.
Man, that's amazing. Unfortunately, he can't spill the beans, which is okay, but definitely.
2 or 3 months if you'll be hearing about something from me and Steve Niles.
That's amazing, man. Wow. So I just got to say this, Tom, thank you so much for your time here. Thank you for being here at the show. Keep kicking ass and taking no prisoners.
Say that again.
See, now I have to repeat it. Tom, thank you so much for being here at the show. Keep kicking ass and taking no prisoners. I bet you do. All right, guys. Like I told you, I always have the best guests on my program. Tom is no exception to that rule. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back right after these messages.